Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Riley McManus. A heated debate broke out at City Council last night over the issue of staff relocations. Some council members argued that an office reshuffling and renovation plan was too costly at $1.1 million, with others saying it's simply necessary. Lee Noonan was there and joins us now live in studio with the details. Lee?
Thanks, Riley. That was one of a few notable items on the council agenda, and while you might think office relocation would be a pretty dry topic, councillors on both sides were quite passionate about the issue, but in the end, council did vote to move the plan forward. The city plans to move the finance department across town to the 7th floor of the city-owned Wayland building to make more room for the legal department at City Hall.
How do we justify that we can't have fireworks, but we can spend over $1 million to renovate 3,000 square feet? This is disrespecting the people who want the services that we're supposed to give. Our staff, yeah, they need a nice place, but they don't need the prime space of our community.
Strikes me that our legal division is pretty important. Strikes me that our revenue division is pretty important. So making sure that they have good working environments, I don't think is disrespectful. I think perhaps it's respectful, right? Respectful to our workers and respectful to the work that they do.
The question before council dealt with just one part of the plan, the approval of a $90,000 contract with the architecture firm designing and overseeing the renovations of new legal offices within City Hall.
Legal services is bursting at the seams right now. Both in terms of the amount of staff that we currently have and the amount of files that we're carrying. We have boxes and things all over, and we have those of us who are rotating desks right now.
In the end, the argument that seemed to win out was that renovations are needed and the plan, first approved by the last council, was too far along to change course without significant delay and expense. And a large majority voted in favor. Meanwhile, council also received a progress report from Transit Services on new bus driver safety measures.
We talk about the incidences. The first thing I say is, have you reported it? Because that's the way we capture it, and that's the way we know what we need to do. So I do appreciate everything that's here, but I'd really like to see some more statistics around this so that we have evidence base to move forward and see that we are actually making a difference.
The final report should be coming back to council on October 18th. Notably absent from the agenda was the question of a hiring freeze that has been publicly championed by Mayor Ken Boshkoff. He's now planning to have the matter discussed at council's next meeting on August 28th. Lee Noonan, TBT News.
Also last night, City Council put its stamp of approval on a funding request to be sent into the federal government, seeking $45 million from the Housing Accelerator Fund. Some councillors were uncomfortable asking for the maximum of $50 million allowed under the fund, but everyone around the table agreed there is a major shortage of affordable housing.
The unhoused don't have a house. The students don't have a house. The people who are on social welfare don't have a house. And new people coming to our community to work don't have houses.
Council feared the initial $50 million request would be denied. In an effort to justify its request, the city will argue that Thunder Bay's population is believed to be as much as 30,000 people higher than what's indicated in the latest census, due to a low response rate among Indigenous people.
It was a minister of the Crown at the last, there was a set of meetings in January where they actually used the figure 150,000. So if a minister uses it, I'm going to use it. And it only tells our people here, our citizens, that we know that we need enhanced federal and provincial money to deal with that itinerant population.
The proposal aims to incentivize nearly 1,600 new housing units through 8 initiatives, including a $12 million initiative encouraging the development of accessory dwelling units, like backyard homes. Council gave the green light to submit the application to Ottawa for Thunder Bay's share of the $4 billion fund. Gillys Township held a virtual council meeting last night where the 2023 draft budget was discussed. The rural community of around 400 people is facing a whopping 26% tax levy hike. The proposed tax increase led to a packed meeting last month where residents voiced concerns about their property taxes. The total Gillys budget is increasing from just under $1 million to around $1.56 million. Around $360,000 of that increase will be covered by higher revenues, while the tax levy change aims to raise an extra $170,000 from property owners. For some, that will mean over $1,000 added to their tax bills by the end of the year. Gillys Reeve Wendy Wright believes the big increase in 2023 will allow for more moderate tax hikes in future years.
This year might be a bit of an anomaly, but I still at the same time could not guarantee that there wouldn't be. I mean, this is to kind of get us out of a rough situation. So hopefully next year, this kind of thing does not continue. But I don't want to say, give any kind of a guarantee or not.
Wright says they still hope to shave a few dollars off the tax hike before the budget is approved in September. Property owners will see the impact come October when they receive their tax bills, which are to be paid in 2 installments, the first by Halloween and the second by November 30th. The criminal trial for a Thunder Bay police officer wrapped up today at the local courthouse. Constable Const Franco is pleading not guilty to 1 count of assault causing bodily harm, following an incident in April of 2022 outside City Hall. A group of people were consuming alcohol inside a bus shelter, including one who wanted to fight a security guard. 2 officers arrived and body cam video showed Franco punch a man in the face, causing a fractured cheekbone. Today's closing argument saw the defense and the Crown disagree on whether the man had squared off to fight Franco before he was punched. A date for the judge's verdict has not yet been set. The full story can be found on tvnewswatch.com. Chiefs and delegates from the 49 Anishinaabe-Aski First Nations are gathering in Thunder Bay over the next few days for their annual summer meeting. The 41st Kiwewin Conference features presentators and discussions on a variety of topics relating to their region, as well as a swearing-in ceremony tomorrow for NAN's next Grand Chief. Just Clement has the details.
Leaders from the NAN communities have gathered together to discuss and share knowledge with the goal to help improve the well-being of their members. The 3-day event started with the grand entry, followed by opening remarks from Acting Grand Chief Annabette Ashley-Penescom, Deputy Grand Chief Victor Linklater, and Deputy Grand Chief Bobby Narcisse, who says with guidance from the 49 chiefs, he believes they're moving into a new era of NAN.
Really looking at ways where we advocate and really look for the betterment of our citizens as we move ahead in this very important work.
Topics of discussion will range from child welfare laws to the First Nation drinking water legislation. The gathering will also include presentations from a number of groups, including one on policing by the NAPS and OPP communication centers.
In the north, we do not have 911, but instead we have a 10-digit number that we are asked to utilize in emergency situation. It has there has been a lot of concerns and problems with that, everything from the language barrier, and then also, that lack of being able to access that number.
Ashley-Penescom says, as leaders, it's their responsibility to gather yearly and have those discussions.
Anishinaabe-Aski Nation is a political territorial organization. It is very necessary for our chiefs to gather. We are a governance that, it is our responsibility and opportunity to gather and to make those decisions together and have those discussions.
The conference continues on Wednesday with a swearing-in ceremony for Alvin Bidler, who is returning to his former role as Grand Chief of NAN. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
We're getting a clear picture today of just how far apart public elementary school teachers and the province are when it comes to contract negotiations. The province's biggest teachers' unions are calling for a strike vote this fall if a new deal can't be reached. Alison Hurst has the latest.
Elementary Teachers Federation members arrive for their annual meeting in downtown Toronto after announcing the union plans to hold a strike vote in the fall.
We are frustrated. We've had enough of the stalling tactics at the negotiation table.
CTV News obtained details on the bargaining between ETFO and the government, which has been going on for a year. It shows, among other things, the union is asking for an increase of cost of living adjustment plus 1% for each year of the agreement, and funding increase to maintain benefits at the current level. The government is offering a 1.25% increase per year for each year of the deal and no increased funding for benefits.
Hopefully they're getting a sense of the climate, that workers across this province are not going to be accepting the bare minimum.
The looming strike vote is backed by the Ontario Secondary School Teachers Federation, saying in a memo from that union obtained by CTV News, a strong strike mandate will demonstrate our unity and determination to achieve fair and favorable terms for our members and students.
We have a government with billions of dollars in a contingency, billions of dollars underspent in the province. They have the money to make sure that we can continue to deliver a world-class education system in Ontario.
The Minister of Education says he hopes it doesn't come to a walkout and they remain ready at the bargaining table. He says they're offering more dates to meet.
This is part of the process. It happens far too often in Ontario, to be fair, but I still believe there's a path to a deal and there's innovative ways and creative ways we can get there, but it requires us to accept the premise. We've got to stay at the table.
With the first day of school just weeks away, parents are stuck watching anxiously from the sidelines.
It's a huge strain on all of us to make sure that all of our students move forward and move ahead in a positive manner to be the future of tomorrow.
The strike vote will be held at members' meetings from mid-September to mid-October.
And that was Alison Hurst reporting. Here in Thunder Bay, local MPP Lise Vaugeois says it's the Ford government's fault for not being able to come to an agreement with the Elementary Teachers Union. The NDP member for Thunder Bay Superior North says the funds for education are being misused, and she claims that the current provincial funding model leans heavier towards infrastructure rather than the people who work for the province.
We see a pattern of infrastructure spending, but not people spending, not good wages. If it's not funded, it's not even funded to what they have in their own budget, why? What's going on? What's behind, what's the difference between the rhetoric and the money that's actually being spent?
Despite the inconsistent weather we've had here in Thunder Bay this summer, the Splish Splash water park is having another successful summer season, and the owner is already making plans on returning next summer. This is the second year that the water park has been in service at Boulevard Lake. Splish Splash owner Jerry Champagne says their sales have been relatively similar to last year's totals. And although he would have preferred to see more hot summer days like we've had so far this week, he remains hopeful for more consistent weather in the future.
We're really hoping on to get a summer where we get more than 3 warm days in a row. That would be nice. We've had a lot of cold, cool days, and I thank Thunder Bay for supporting on those days for sure. But the summer's going to come where we're going to have a whole week of good weather in a row. That's going to be unbelievable.
Splish Splash Water Park will be open 7 days a week until early September for the Labor Day weekend, depending on the weather. Well,